Ever since I first played it, I've always been intrigued by the many mysteries of Super Mario 64. From those created by Nintendo to lead players to a hidden star, to those created by the imaginations of players looking for something undiscovered. I've always loved a good secret in a video game, some neat area that you only stumbled upon by chance, or some inkling of suspicion. It adds so much depth to the player's perception of the game. If there was a secret that was this buried, suddenly anything could be hiding anywhere. And Nintendo knows this all too well, which is why they've almost centered Super Mario 64 around that idea. Each star feels like its own secret. This structure provides an extraordinary suspension of disbelief for players looking for something more, something that nobody's ever found. So what happens when people get a couple of pieces of weak evidence suggesting Luigi could be a hidden playable character? Well, a search begins. And whether or not Luigi ever was found in that search doesn't matter. It wasn't about finding anything, it was just about believing in something and pursuing it, being on the cutting edge of a video game mystery. But after some time, that mystery died down. And then 2 seconds later, Super Mario 64 DS released, which did have Luigi, and Yoshi, and Wario. But it's like they say, give players an inch and they'll ask, where's Waluigi? And so a new generation got to experience what the original mystery was all about. This search, however, may have been a bigger one, and is the search that I myself embarked on. It really was strange that all of the plumbers showed up for this game except for Waluigi. Probably the most compelling evidence that Waluigi was intended to be a playable character, or at least was referenced, is the purple circles on the floor alongside the red, yellow, and green circles in the rec room. Because where there's a splotch of purple, there's a clue. There was just something so tantalizing about the idea of everybody banding together to find a hidden character, who, of course, never turned up. But what if he was actually added? What if he was just another character? Where would his painting room be, and what would his power flower ability be? Well, today, I'd like to do my best to answer those questions. Let's start where it all begins. Before you can play Waluigi, you've got to fight a boss. But before you can fight a boss, you've got to go through a painting world. But before you do that, you've got to discover the painting. And while it's fun to speculate about some ridiculous, extensive, esoteric quest for the Enigma himself, I think that unlocking Waluigi would actually be a pretty simple task, but not an unmysterious one. Waluigi is a strange guy with a strange legacy. He's the only one of the characters in the game who doesn't have his own spin-off title or Smash character. He's sort of been thrown in the attic and forgotten about, sealed away behind the wallpaper. And actually, that's not a bad idea for a level. Okay, hear me out. Here's what I've come up with. Once you've unlocked Wario, you can head into the rec room where you'll find the previously mentioned purple circles, which are actually buttons. And using Wario's additional weight, you can ground pound these buttons. After you do so, something will happen and the castle will shake. Now, as you search rooms, you'll find a few different scuttlebugs that you've got to defeat around the castle. After these scuttlebugs are defeated, a sound will play. Now, if you head into the mirror room, you'll notice something has changed. The mirror is busted open, allowing any character to pass through. And the star door that previously led to a strange white room is now revealed to have always been the Waluigi room. The white wallpaper has peeled away, revealing the Waluigi painting that was sealed behind. Upon entering this painting, you'd be met with the unsettling extra rooms of the castle, areas that have been forgotten about. The level would play quite a lot like Big Boo's Haunt, navigating through the many rooms of a building. The music would be some sort of spooky rendition of the castle theme, a bit echoey and distant. Eventually, you find yourself at an entrance in the ceiling that you've got to jump through to enter the boss arena. Once you hop up into this huge dark attic room, you encounter Scuttlebig. King Scuttlebug, you guys can figure out the name. During this fight, you'll hear an intense boss music version of the castle theme. I'm not really a music producer, but here's what I came up with. This is a basic boss fight where he chases you around the room while crates fall from the ceiling. If you're playing as Wario, your ground pounds will stun the boss for a second. The goal is to get crates to fall onto the boss's head, which is obviously easier on Wario. If you're playing a different character, you can simply circle the boss to keep him under the shadow, or you can grab a Wario cap from one of the scuttlebugs around the arena. After hitting him in the head, let's say 4 times, maybe twice, let's just say 3 times, you get the key to the Waluigi door, which replaces the white door that was there originally. Now that you have unlocked him, how does Waluigi stack up against the other characters? Well, I think he would have a high-risk, high-reward playstyle that rewards a skilled player. He would do all of the damage of Wario and have the agility of Luigi, but he'd take twice the damage of a normal character. This would make him a very fun character to play if you've mastered the game. And as for his power flower ability, he would get charged up with electricity. This would increase his movement speed, and his ground pound would shock everything nearby. that's not actually what his Power Flower ability would be if he was really added into the game. The other character's Power Flower abilities function mostly as a key to get a set of specific stars, making the game function slower and more tediously, as now you've got to constantly switch to characters that you don't want to play to get certain stars. If Nintendo added Waluigi, he'd probably just turn into a key, so he can unlock Waluigi-locked stars. But I think increased movement speed and a ground pound upgrade would be a pretty fun Power Flower ability. Maybe I can reimagine the other characters in the game sometime. That might be fun. Well anyways, that's how I think Waluigi would work if he was added in Super Mario 64 DS. He would probably be exactly like that. It's really crazy how subtle hints pointing towards a character actually added more to the game than an additional character ever would have. This idea for a character that I presented is pretty cool, but not nearly as cool as what happened when he was missing. I'm actually glad there's not just a playable Waluigi character, but instead an unanswered question, prompting players to search for something that forever sits just on the border of discovery. And he probably would have sucked as a character anyways, you'd still just play Luigi. Anyways, I'll talk to you later. Thanks.